Good afternoon. Happy holidays to everyone. The first thing I'm going to do is call this meeting to order of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. The meeting is for December 20th, 22nd, and our first item of business is the approval of the minutes, which are in your packets. Are there any comments, questions, or changes? If not, I'll entertain a motion at this time, please. The motion passes. The next item of business is the consent docket. There are 14 items on the consent docket today, everything from engineering reports to project bids to change orders. Would anyone like to have any items pulled out for individual consideration or have any individual questions? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion as to these 14 items. It passes. The next item of business is the concurrence docket found at page 2, item 4, A and B. These two items can be taken with one vote unless someone would like to discuss them individually. There being none, I'd entertain a motion. It passes. The next item of business is the emergency construction contracts resolution. We have none today, so I'll move on to items for individual consideration. The first item is 6A, which is amendment number 9 to the award contract for water and wastewater systems at Tinker Air Force Base. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is a price adjustment. The federal government's fiscal year begins in October, and we took over the facility in November. So we're adjusting the last month of this year, and then the pricing will continue for the next 13 months through 2023.
It says the contract's retroactive November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2071. Is that right?
Yes.
I don't think we'll be around for that one.
Probably not.
All right.
It's a 50-year contract.
Let's go to 6B. Oh, no, first we have to have a motion. I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion. There's a motion and a second. Please cast your vote. It passes. We'll now go to 6B, which is to receive the annual financial report for the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust for year ended June 30th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vanessa Aguilar is here to give us a brief summary of the report.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Vice Chairman and trustees. Vanessa Aguilar here. This agenda item that you have, it receives the fiscal year 2022 annual financial report for the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. The city's finance department provides accounting services for the trust. Here with us today is David Perez with the accounting department. I'd like to recognize their hard work in helping prepare the financial document. They ensure that they record the financial transactions as well as making sure that we're in compliance with accounting principles. Aqua in the City utilizes an independent external auditor to review the audit for the financials. AGH is the external auditor that completed the audit this year, and for fiscal year 2022, they provided a clean opinion, meaning that there were no material findings and the financial statements were presented fairly. Page 7 of the report provides the management's discussion and analysis and a summary of the financials for your reference. A couple of the highlights include the net position. This increased $121 million from prior year for an ending position of $1,379 million for fiscal year 22. Operating revenues for water, wastewater, and solid waste management were recorded at approximately $391 million for fiscal year 22, an increase of approximately $26.6 million from the previous fiscal year. Our operating expenses for fiscal year 22 were $247 million, which represented about a $28 million decrease from the prior year. And that's primarily due to the prior year having a one-time expense related to the storm debris removal, as well as some salary savings from vacancies. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Does anyone have any questions? Well, thank you for the report. I appreciate it very much. I guess I need a motion to receive at this time.
Thank you.
There we go. There's a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. It passes. We'll now go to item 6C, which deals with a purchase agreement with the Oklahoma Industries Authority.
Mr. Chairman, this item is to declare surplus a tract of land that's nearly 97 acres and authorize the sale of the tract by Oklahoma City and the Water Utilities Trust. The property is located at I-240 and Air Depot. The land was originally purchased as part of the West Elm Creek Reservoir project. This portion of land is more than 660 feet beyond the projected high water mark for the future reservoir, so the trust and the city may declare this land to be surplus. As such, the tract may be sold for fair market value with the proceeds paid to the trust for utility and water purposes. The Oklahoma Industries Authority, which is a public trust, would like to purchase this land to provide a location for facilities to support Tinker Air Force Base. The parties each had the land appraised and established fair market value. The value has been determined to be $5 million. So therefore, we would recommend approval of this item accordingly. Be happy to answer questions that you may have.
If there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion for this resolution, please. The motion passes. We now find ourselves at item 6D, which is a resolution recommending the City of Oklahoma City adopt an ordinance relating to sewers and sewage disposals, utilities, and the general schedule of fees. To do this, we'll have to make some amendments to the municipal code.
Yes, sir. Chapter 47 of the municipal code, parts of it were inadvertently deleted when there were some revisions made a few months back. So we're adding those sections back in, and those particularly pertain to sewer discharge enforcement, the grease haulers who clean grease traps at restaurants. So the haulers are licensed by ODEQ, but they're permitted by us to operate, and the permit tracks their collection and disposal of the grease so that we make sure that it's properly disposed. This currently only impacts 15 waste haulers who operate in Oklahoma City. And then we had revisions to align. We updated the language as well. It didn't align very well with EPA regulations and standards, so we upgraded that, specifically identifying the industrial permit holders, which are like the metal platers and those kinds of folks, and the commercial, who are generally the food preparing customers within our city. And then on chapter 55, we recommended updates to better define multifamily housing, and that's any housing unit with more than 4 units connected. So we clarified that. And then in 60, it's a general schedule of fees, where we identified the treated wastewater service rates, and we identified them specific to IRS taxable and non-taxable. So we cleared that up as well. And then we reestablished the meter multiplier that was inadvertently left out. The schedule of fees is done, but what that multiplier is we have a base fee for most of the meters in the city, which are 5/8 meters, residential meters. And then the meters that are larger than that, 3/4 to 10 inches, have a multiplier to adjust the base fee accordingly. So we cleared that up in there as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? I need a motion for this resolution of recommendation. There we go. Please cast your vote. Item 6D passes. The next matter for business is items from trustees. Is there any items from trustees today? I'll then turn it over to the general manager for the general manager reports, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Status report for the lakes, they're coming up slowly. We're still pretty low at Draper, about 9 feet. We were over 10 feet below full. Hefner is about 4 feet, and we were over 7 feet below full. Got quite a bit of rain in the southeast, so McGee Creek is nearly full, so that's a good thing. Atoka is about 6 feet down, but we're pumping from McGee over to Atoka. Financial, the pro forma, all of our expenses are on target for the year, or all of our revenues, rather, are on target for the year. The expenses on water treatment, they're still being heavily impacted by energy and chemicals, so we have requested a budget amendment accordingly. Solid waste management is in good shape, and so is wastewater. We do have a presentation today on our SCADA master plan. We have Josh Morgan here. He was the one who managed this project for the last few years, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Yeah,
Josh, glad to have you here today.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, trustees. Yep. So I'm just here to provide a brief presentation over, like Mr. Browning said, the project we've completed recently, pretty significant project for the utility. So there we go. So after 9/11, the EPA mandated some vulnerability assessments for critical infrastructure, which obviously we have. So the vulnerability assessment, which they've now called risk and resiliency assessments, so you heard those terms interchangeably moving forward. But the one we completed in 2012 identified some critical issues with our SCADA systems. And ever since that time, we've been working to remediate those vulnerabilities. And that's what we're here to tell you today, is that we've completed that initiative, which is continuous improvement, so we're never going to stop, but we've completed the initial goal that we set out to achieve, which just happened in October of this year. So for a little bit of context, when we talk about SCADA systems, so SCADA systems are essentially hardware and software that are used to operate and control, monitor, the treatment, distribution, collection processes of the utility. So when you think about like the distribution system, 620 square miles, right? That's pressure, that's turbidity, that's chlorine, that's all the things we have to monitor. SCADA is the application that allows us to monitor all of those characteristics from one computer, or the Atoka pipeline, 130-mile pipeline. And from one computer, we can turn pumps on and off. We can look at tank levels. So it's a computer application that lets us reach out and touch those valves and those pumps to be able to do what we do. So the enterprise SCADA implementation was completed really to address 4 key things, right? Physical security, software security, network security, and reliability. All those things come into play with helping us have a resilient, hacker-proof application. Hacker-proof is kind of the key term there. So the solution had to be reliable, resilient, expandable, supportable. Some of the key things there are, when you think about the SCADA application or industrial control application, availability is key. So getting in there and turning stuff on and off is one thing, but if they were to take the application down, or if we were to inadvertently take the application down during the upgrade process, that's key. When you only have a few people operating a treatment plant, this is the tool they use to be able to do that with limited staff. This allows them to sit in one place and control the entire treatment plant. So when this application goes down or is impaired, it really impacts staff's ability to continue to perform the service they do to the public. So having that resilient application that is secure and reliable no matter what happens, that was the goal. No matter what we did, we had to make sure that it remained resilient throughout. So the previous state, there was 12 separate applications. Each treatment plant had its own application. The distribution system was its own application. Atoka pipeline, every system was its own. And the way things worked historically, you'd get a construction project brought in, the general contractors, subcontractors, they would essentially design that application for that process. There was no overarching standard to say, here in the City of Oklahoma City, in the Utilities Department, Water Utilities Trust, this is what our SCADA looks like. It was really up to each design engineer on each project to come in and do what fit best for that project. So what we've done, well, to keep going, so no formal cybersecurity policies, Cs, or procedures. We all know it's important, but up until the last 5 or 10 years, we didn't have anything formalized to say this is how we're going to use it. This is how we're going to secure it. That's where we've made leaps and bounds and gains. No formal construction specifications. So like I talked about, design engineers would come in and design the application that met the need that they were hired for, but it was not necessarily consistently standard across the process. And then software development standards, same idea. Each design engineer would come in and they would do great at making sure the application met the need that they were hired for, maybe not to the overarching goal of the entire utility. So current state, what we've done over the last 10 years, so we've got SCADA systems now that meet NIST guidelines. So NIST is, it's a Department of Commerce, but essentially they create industry standard, one thing they do, industry standard technology practices. So we meet several industry standard technology standards for cybersecurity now. Robust cybersecurity policies and procedures. We work really closely with the IT department, and we've got from, in joint policies with the utilities director and the IT director that says anybody who touches this application, hardware, software, operators, these are the policies and procedures that you're going to follow to ensure that we maintain that, again, the resilient, reliable, secure application. Construction specifications. So when you think about a standard construction project, they've got the white book. This is how everything has to be done. We essentially have that now for the SCADA application, whether it be for construction specifications for the hardware or even for the software development. We've got detailed standards and specifications that say, no matter who's doing the work, this is how you're going to do the work. This allows us to make sure that we've got that repeatable, expandable application that retains that security and reliability no matter who's doing the work for us. So what changed? Again, monumental. When you think about 12 different SCADA applications is what we had 10 years ago, but now we've got one industry standard secured SCADA application. Now when I say one application, in theory it is one application, but it's properly secured. Secured in a way that, say, a Hefner operator can't see the wastewater treatment plants, or the wastewater treatment plant operator can't see the Atoka pipeline. We're able to secure the application in a manner that best meets the utility's needs, with that you're only going to get access with what you actually need to have access to. But what it does allow us to do is say we had to evacuate a plant and we needed to operate that plant remotely. With the proper permissions, we can operate any of our facilities, any of them, from this one application with the proper security in place. So 318 PLCs. PLCs are essentially the middleware. It's a piece of hardware that connects out to the pumps and the valves and the turbidity analyzers, digitizes that and sends it to the computer. So 318 PLCs were upgraded to standard. Created a strong support relationship with Oklahoma City IT and third-party support providers. These last two bullet points really go together. So with the IT department, what we've done with the SCADA system is now they are the primary support for all of our network and server infrastructure. It wasn't like that before, but we've realized they're the experts at this. We're going to have the experts do what the experts do. So with the IT department, they take care of all the infrastructure, and we've added some resources into that department to make sure that they're properly staffed to do that. And then third-party support providers. So when it comes to, say, application development, we've got a contract with a vendor who does all of our application development. So a construction project may come in and build a treatment process, but they're not going to touch our SCADA application. There's only one company that does that for us today. And with any of these things that I'm talking about, we have our own internal staff who can supplement that or even take over that should we need to. But this in-source, outsourced model helps us to really right-size that internal staff support. That's really all I've got. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions you may have. All right.
Great
Thank you, Josh.
presentation.
Appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, I have one more item. So I'd like to give you a short briefing on the Bethany wastewater facility. We are continuing to treat their wastewater. They are working on a plan to try to get it back into their own facility, but right now we're continuing to take, John, 3 million gallons a day? 3 million gallons a day. We've offered technical assistance, but they're working through the issues internal. We'd be happy to help any way we can. So, and we don't have a date or even a time frame that they're going to be able to recover, but we'll continue to help them along the way. So just
I'm glad we have the ability to help.
we are too.
This time of year.
And just for everybody's information, the discharge from that treatment goes northward to the Cimarron. It does not come down to the North Canadian.
None of your reports need to be received today, do they?
No.
Okay.
And then lastly, I would like to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season. And thank you so much for your help and your support throughout the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item of business is citizens to be heard. No one signed up. Therefore, there is no further
Have
business.
items from trustees? We kind of skipped that. Oh. Are you saying I can go ahead? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays and just thank staff so much for the job that y'all do, day in and day out. It's really, really appreciated. And especially as we have this cold weather coming, I know it makes everyone's day so much more enjoyable, but it's stuff that has to be done for sure. So thank all of you again for just the job that you do. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Todd just said. We have an incredible staff, incredible employees. They do a great job year-round, and we're very proud of your work, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Greg? There being no further business now, we are adjourned.